Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Ravi sir. Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, Namaskar, and welcome to the IDYM companies for the day. Even though it is a Sunday, lot many people have joined here. Still, they are joining here for the teachers training program. Let me tell you something about this teacher training program. It's very easy to say that teachers are like this, teachers are like that, but to train them, bring them to the main path and groom them to bring it about something from them and give it to the students is very, very difficult. So IDYM is one of these platforms who is bringing all sorts of experts to give the trainings to the teachers and making them aware the present condition of the COVID-19 and exactly how to go for the hybrid training, that is online and offline. Before we go ahead, I would like to just talk to you something about the IDYM. IDYM of companies is a platform to promote space and satellite education for every young mind. That is for the entire student community from any school all around the world. It involves a group of people with several years of experience in education, ranging from people of education ministry, various schools principals, and young, talented space of enthusiasts. IDYM performs workshops, lectures on space and satellite, rocket technology for schools with distinguished speakers from multiple IITs, ISRO, NASA, DRDO, BARC, HAL, NAL, scientists, and many armed forces officers and space experts. Let me talk something about the founder of IDYM, that is Igniting Dream of Young Mind, Engineer Ravi, is a mechanical engineer. Let me repeat this, is a mechanical engineer, even though he is there, but he's trying to uh, bring about all the educationists, bring about all the education factors, faculties, and together to give lots of education to everybody. He is the founder of IDYM Group of Companies. He has over 10 years of working experience with various industries, both in India and abroad. He has done many national and international projects in the field of space technology, hydroponics, robotics, automobiles, solar energy, and has received many international and national awards in recognition for his work. He has received the Bharat Gaurav Award for helping armed forces families with the vision of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He started IDYM with idea of IDYM group of companies. IDYM has conducted space exploration program in all 28 states of India and 5 union territories, as well as in 51 plus countries. I would like to just repeat this thing, 51 plus countries. He is not only famous here in India in the form of giving the trainings and other things to the educationists as well as the students. He is famous in 51 plus countries. During this mission, IDYM has given 75,000 plus students free of cost training on satellite and rocket technology. I would like to mention here, my school was amongst the first in the beginning to have this kind of a training done for the school students specifically, and that was done in the form of space exploration. And I had taken this particularly at the time of May, wherein the children, they are away from the studies and everything, and so I could accommodate my children in this satellite. He graduated as a mechanical engineer and jumped into the corporate world and gained a lot of experience. But he has always had his dream since his childhood to be able to study space technology. To realize this dream, he thought of a startup idea where he will be engaging a team of experts, team of experts to educate young minds about the fascinating aspects of space technology. This idea came in his mind in the year 2009, but due to some of the other reasons, it got delayed and was only set up in the August 2020. He gathered a team of like-minded people and started his journey of bringing space to Earth. So this is what exactly something about Engineer Ravi to you all. And he has got somewhere close to 9 different type of things in his account. IDYM group of companies has got IDYM Foundation, IDYM Times, IDYM Books, Book of World Records, IDYM Global University, IDYM Designers, IDYM Film Production, IDYM Space School, IDYM Principals Association, IDYM E-Magazine, and many more are there. Actually speaking, this particular information is there with me of maybe somewhere 1 year ago, but the information which right now, if I add into that, there are many more things got involved in that and got added in his credit. And he has got somewhere close to 200 plus schools in his account of having the uh, joint venture to have different types of space exploration program and other things happening with the specifically students. So to bring about some kind of education given to the teachers, today we have with us a well-known personality, Dr. Arpita Ghosh. I would like to just tell something about Dr. Arpita Ghosh here, a certified life coach and soft skill trainer. Her life mission in a line is empowering individuals, touching lives. She has trained not middle and senior management, but also conducted sessions for school principals and teachers. Use of expressive arts makes her training module unique and experiential. A media professional prior to her life's calling of a counselor, Mrs. Ghosh is an approved voice of AIR and DD Mumbai. AIR, I think it is All India Radio, and DD, I think it is Doordarshan Mumbai. A corporate filmmaker, screenplay writer for tele serial, Ms. Harpita Ghosh has also acted in a film Mumbai Central. Her never say no attitude to do and learn gives her the title of being a poet and an author, a TEDx speaker, a solo traveler, a journalist, and a spiritual seeker, which made her realize what matters most is what remains after we drop all the labels, counseling individuals to reclaim their power and work on self-development. She has won the Excellence Award in the year 2021 in the field of mental health well-being, an award for the most promising counselor 2021 from Asian African Chambers of Commerce and Industries. She has co-authored 9 books in a span of 9 months and is still counting. She writes quotes, poems, life stories, and love stories. In the journey of life, we only have milestones to achieve. So this is what a small introduction I personally feel from my side to be given to Ms. Arpita Ghosh. And today is the time for you, ma'am, Arpita ma'am, to enlighten us with your great and great learning. And lots of members are there to learn from you all. Thank you very much. And Arpita ma'am, the platform is yours.
Very, very good evening to everyone present over here. And thank you, sir, for that beautiful little introduction that you gave me. I really appreciate that. And okay, so I can see that we are all teachers over here, educators, principals. It's really great. A warm welcome to each and every one over here. sparing time on a Sunday evening when we should be spending time with family. I think it just goes to show that the kind of priorities we have in our life and the sense of commitment and dedication we have towards what we are doing. So, well, with this, I begin today's session, which is ABC of teaching, rekindling the passion within. I'm sure we do realize it somewhere. Probably whatever I have to speak today is known to all of us. But yet, everything that we keep doing over and over again, sometimes it's out of habit, it becomes mundane, it becomes routine. And like I say, for any profession that we have skill sets that we need to keep developing, we need to acquire, we need to upgrade ourselves. Likewise, to be an effective teacher, to be a teacher who can create an impact, I think we have skill sets right from A to Z. And that's why I called it the ABC of teaching, because any language that we need to learn, I mean, especially English language, we begin with ABC. If we really want to imbibe all the qualities, and like I said, to be an impactful teacher, let's begin with ABC. But only thing over here, A for apple, B for bat, no, no, no. What we have over here is A for us is all about developing an attitude. What is the attitude that we carry in our class? An attitude not just to teach, but an attitude also to learn, because sometimes in the process of imparting knowledge, in the process of that kind of an interaction with our students, there is a lot that we tend to learn from them too. So that is the kind of attitude that we take over there. It's not the attitude about, I know it all, because we all know as teachers, learning is a continuous process. So, what attitude do we take with us in the class does matter. A is also about acceptance. And I speak about acceptance because let's be honest, when we enter our class, we have students from all backgrounds, from different cultures. We have boys, girls. So it makes a lot of sense to believe in inclusivity, to have that acceptance towards all our students, irrespective of caste, creed, gender, irrespective of their learning abilities, because we all know that every student has a different learning ability. They all tune in sometimes only to listening, sometimes to the visual, sometimes to kinesthetics. Some are slow learners, some grasp easily. So let us be accepting towards all our students. B is, again, there are a couple of things that come over here for B. It's all about how we behave. Because the way we present ourselves, our behavior towards our students, towards our colleagues, because mind you, students are constantly observing us. Students watch us. And we never know who we are inspiring, who we are impacting in our day to day life. So the way we behave and the way we communicate makes a lot of difference. B is also for building brand you. When I talk about branding, just like we heard now about the company IDYM. So it's all about branding. How do we brand ourselves? Today, with the kind of introduction that you just heard about me, again, it's about you as a brand, because that's exactly what happens. We also need to create our own brand. It's not just about our own individual brand, but it's also about creating the brand in whichever school or college we are teaching. Because every school and college has a different kind of culture. Are we able to imbibe that culture? Are we able to take the brand school, the brand college to the next level? C, I talk over here about the 4 C's, which are very, very important for every educator. First, of course, communication. And when we talk about communication, it begins with the nonverbal communication. What is our nonverbal communication? And again, we may not be speaking, but just the way we present ourselves in terms of how do we groom? How do we dress? How do we walk? Is our walk the confident kind of a walk? All that speaks volumes. What is the kind of expression we carry? Do we have, like, sometimes students have come up to me and spoken about, like, they find some difficulty in a subject, and I always tell them, why not approach your teacher and talk to them? And they're like, no, ma'am, he doesn't seem very approachable, very strict. And then I have to tell them that no, yes, in the classroom, a teacher is strict, but at the same time, in our nonverbal communication, somewhere if we can communicate through our expression that we are also approachable, it will make a lot of difference. Again, in communication, we all know what matters is the tone in which we speak. So, are we constantly using the authoritative tone? Again, when we are in the classroom, when we are teaching, is it a very dull, monotonous way? Because we all know, like, is it teacher centric? Is it student centric? And if it is teacher centric, when I'm talking about a concept, am I able to modulate my voice? Do I speak too fast? Do I speak too slowly, too softly? All that matters. We need to bring in awareness of how we communicate in the class. It's also about the command of the language. So the more we work on our communication levels, the better impact we can create on our students. It's about collaboration. Now, when I talk about collaboration over here for educators, it's about collaborating with other subject teachers. It's about collaborating with teachers from other schools and colleges. If it comes to research work or if it comes to some kind of projects that we are doing, how do we collaborate and work together for the benefit of our students? It's also about see, connect. Are we able to connect with our students? Today we've gone, onto the online medium, and of course, most of us are also getting onto the hybrid now. So, are we able to connect? Because in a physical classroom, it's very easy to sit and connect, face to face. But in this particular medium, are we able to connect with our students face to face? Are we able to connect with our students So, shall I just start continuing from where I stopped? Okay, so as everybody is still joining in, but I think I will continue because we are already running behind schedule. So we were looking at the letter C, and I was talking about connecting with our students, how important it is to connect. It's
1 minute, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Arpita, ma'am. Excuse me. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Just give me 2 minutes, ma'am, because we will make it live on ID ma'am in Getty.
All right, all right.
Host was having some problem.
No problems.
ಇದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೇನೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ
Please switch off your audio. Who is this? Don't switch on audio. Abita. Please switch off your mic.
Sorry.
Okay, ma'am. Please start. Please start.
Thank you, sir. So, along with connecting with the students, it's also about compassion. We need to be compassionate. We need to understand. I think we have all heard about, like, there's this particular story I remember about a student who used to always land up coming late in for the first lecture. And one fine day, when the student was asked, like, why are you late every day, every single day, once, twice, we can understand. But then when she went on to explain her story about where she stays, what time the water comes, who all are there at home, and how the entire load is on her. That's a time we need to show some kind of compassion. And especially now in this post pandemic time, compassion becomes a very important quality that we need to show for our students as well as our colleagues. D is all for dynamism. Bring in that dynamics into your teaching. The more we read, the more we interact, the more we know, that much more of dynamism we can bring into our teaching. It's not just about bringing in dynamism into our teaching, but it's also about being a dynamic person yourself. And this requires a lot of self development work. Deadlines, we do know that deadlines are something which has to be met. Syllabus has to be completed during a stipulated time. Your portions have to be completed. Question papers have to be set. They have to be evaluated. Everything has a deadline for us academicians. So we have to be deadline oriented and ensure that we submit things on time. And of course, D is also for dedication. No matter what we do, let's be dedicated. Let's be committed. Because I always, I have created this little song, which is we are educators by professions. Teaching is our passion. I'll just sing these two lines for you. So it goes something like, we are educators by professions. Oh, teaching is our passion. Oh, creating a future generation that's responsible and very confident. So, coming back from that little bit of diversion, but I'm sure you would have heard every word, and this is going to help you to rekindle that passion within as a teacher. Okay, E, create an enigma. For every student, they look up to their teachers. And when they look up to their teachers, we don't need to give everything to them, but create that slight bit of enigma which holds their attention, their interest in you always, in the subject. Like we always say, that at least for me it has always been, maths has never been one of my favorite subjects, and somewhere I feel it's because in grade 5 I had the wrong maths teacher. So it's always up to a teacher to create an interest in the subject. How do we do that? Again, when we are dealing with our students, ego is something which we need to keep aside. And if you look at the word ego, E-G-O, basically, E is for eliminate. Eliminate gap with others. So be it our students, be it our colleagues, whoever it is, keep ego aside. It's also about the energy that you bring in. Like, I'm sure we all watch reality shows, and sometimes the judge says, much more energy, energy was a little low. Likewise, in a classroom, energy level of the teacher has to be high because energy, enthusiasm is very contagious. If your energy levels are high, if you're enthusiastic, it gets passed on and automatically the energy of the class changes. So always go in with a high energy and be enthusiastic to teach your subject. Ensure that your lesson plan is done in such a way that it keeps the students engaged. Somewhere it has to be a proper balance of teacher centric and student centric. It cannot be just a one sided thing. And today, the more and more, like, because we've got into online and now again hybrid and then again, so it becomes important for us to ensure that we are engaging our students in a very proactive way. And obviously, keep encouraging your students. Let's not demotivate them at any point of time. They may not be all that good. They may not be, scoring the highest of marks. But at the end of it, they are putting in an effort. Let us encourage them in everything that they do. F is all about, are we, individuals who are constantly finding fault? I believe I will find what I look for. So if I'm going to keep finding faults, that's exactly what I'm going to find. So I have stopped looking for faults, but I started looking for goodness in people. And believe me, I really do see a lot of goodness around. Do the same in your classroom too. Do the same wherever you are. Look for goodness, you will find it. It's also about feedback. The way we give feedback is very important. How do we give our feedback? Again, like I said, feedback has to be something which is given in a way that a student can accept and understand that, okay, again, over here, it's about bringing in your communicative part in the tone we use when we are giving the feedback. Are we being very critical, or we are just giving a feedback in a very genuine way, making them understand that this is where they need to improve? It's also about being in touch with your own emotions, your own feelings, because again, as teachers, it's having a healthy EQ, emotional intelligence. We may have had a fight or we may be upset over something else, but the moment I come into the class, I need to keep all those things aside. I need to keep those feelings out of the classroom. It's also about favoritism. I know every teacher lands up having a favorite student, like, I mean, the apple of the eye. But believe me, favoritism affects the other students. I have had sometimes, like, I mean, it's not that the students have come and said, oh, ma'am, like, he is a favorite of that teacher. But sometimes it's the favorite student who has come up to me and said that this kind of favoritism being showered on him is posing a problem for him in the class because he's not able to make friends. So he did not want to be the teacher's favorite. So, as teachers, let's again be responsible enough and keep the favoritism aside. Moving on to G, let's be graceful. Graceful, again, is something which can come through in the way we talk, the way we walk, the way we present ourselves. And it's also about living with an attitude of gratitude. When we have that kind of gratitude, we are able to have that kind of grace. It's also about growth. Are we able to ensure that we are growing at every single stage? It's not that degrees ho gaya, certifications ho gaya, and that's where my growth stops. No, growth is a continuous process. Moving on to H, it's about having a holistic approach in whatever we do. And when I talk about holistic approach, okay, you will have to excuse me right now because there's somebody at the door and I need to answer that. Just give me a moment.
Hello.
Yes, yes, she
Yeah, hi,
is.
sorry, like I just
She's
said,
come
there was
back. Yeah.
somebody at the door. So that's the reason why I just had to take that moment out. Like,
Yes, yes, ma'am. Please
yeah,
continue.
okay. So, like I said, again, it's for the holistic approach. It's all about, when we talk about holistic approach, it is about the physical, emotional, mental, and the spiritual part of it. When we are whole in our own interest, that is when we are able to again take our students ahead in the same way. It helps to add a little bit of humor in everything that we do. Add that humor. It lightens up the mood sometimes. And it's also about honesty. Now, when I talk about honesty, it's about being first honest to myself. And when I say honest to myself, what I'm talking about, and believe me, whatever I'm sharing with you today comes to you from my own experiences as an educator. And I have seen that the more honest I am to myself, the better I am able to deliver in my next. Like, for instance, I mean, once I complete a session, I just ask myself, okay, the first thing that I ask myself, did everything go well? Did I give my 100% to it? Was I able to really, like, I mean, deliver well? And when I am honest with myself, that is when the growth will also obviously happen. I. I is all about innovation. If you've noticed today, every company is looking for people who think out of the box, who are innovative. Bring in innovation to your teaching. And I sure, like all of us do agree that the pandemic times has got us to push ourselves out of the comfort zone, to be innovative. So bring in innovation in your teaching. When you're doing your lesson planning, bring in that creativity. I is also about interaction. Now, when I talk about interaction, it's about interaction with students, interaction with other teachers. Now, why I talk about interaction with other teachers, it has happened very often. The history teacher has a complaint about student A. And during the interaction with the biology teacher, the teacher realizes that student A is very attentive in the biology class. Biology teacher has absolutely no complaints about student A. So the history teacher wonders, why then am I having this problem? And it's only when the teacher interacts with student A, realizes that, okay, history is very boring, does not like anything to do with history, finds it's like, I mean, what do I have to do with history? It made the history teacher rethink and see how they could make teaching more interesting. So interact, introspect. Introspect, introspect, because from time to time we need to do a little bit of introspection to see how we can improve ourselves. Because I, again, is also for improvisation. So bring in that improvisation through that introspection. And inclusivity is all about including everyone. When you look at the letter J, bring in that joyousness in your teaching. Feel joyful. Because, like I said, when you are happy, when you're joyful, when you're enthusiastic, it gets carried into, rather, I wouldn't say carried, but it gets rubbed onto others. Jargons, try not to use too many jargons. because it becomes very difficult when we are using jargons, because students, sometimes that can be very put-offing for them. So try not to use too many jargons. The more you simplify a language when you are explaining, the better it is. K is for knowledge, and like I said, knowledge is king, or like we say, content is king. But the more knowledge we have, the better it is. And today, since technology has got into every aspect of our life, it is important that we keep upgrading ourselves at all times with respect to knowledge. Because for our students, everything is available on Google. So there have been times when, again, students feel, if I have to pay attention in a class, what extra am I getting? And that is when the onus is on us to ensure that we are upgrading our own knowledge so that we can give our students in a more creative and innovative way than what Google is giving. L is all about the learning graph, so it goes hand in hand with knowledge and learning graph, and ensure that your learning graph is always on an upward scale. And here is where I would also like to share with you. If you look at the x-axis and the y-axis, where your x-axis is all about, like, the learning, the growth of the institute, the school or college where you're teaching, and the y-axis is all about your own learning curve. And at any given point of time, learning growth has to be for both at an individual level as well as for the school and college that you are teaching. A is also about love, love for what you do. Be like, anything and everything that you do, ensure that you feel that love and do it. For students, create memories. It's all about the student experience. Create memories that they will always treasure, they will always be passionate about. Those are the memories that they will carry back with them. Those are the fond memories they will have of you. So as a teacher, ensure that they have good memories. It's also about motivate. Now, when I talk about motivation, it's about self-motivation. How are we able to motivate ourselves? Because when we motivate ourselves, like, are we the ones who wake up in the morning and it's like, another day, same old period, same old routine, same old students? Or we are motivated enough to look forward to every day as a new day, to do things anew, fresh. N is be neutral. Like I said, it's like, we don't want to be judgmental. We want to be non-judgmental. O is all about being optimistic. And bringing in that optimism helps, because when we are optimistic about situations, about circumstances, it brings in hope for others. So never give up on your students. Never stop trying. Believe in them. Because for a student, the moment they know, it matters a lot to them when they realize that their teacher believes in them. Their teacher is confident about them. They perform better. So that can only happen if we are optimistic. Ensure that observation is at its highest, because as a teacher, when we are in a classroom, so many students are there, but we need to be very observant to pick up cues from our students. In a class, it's all about feeling the pulse of the class. P is all about being punctual. Like I said, it's all about meeting deadlines. Be professional. Bring in that passion to what you're doing. Like I said, we are educators by profession, and we are very passionate about that teaching. It's also about perseverance. Persevere to be the best at all times. Q is all about quality. What is the quality of my teaching? I need to be aware of that. It's also about, questioning. And when I talk about questioning, the art of questioning, because the moment you get into, doing any kind of research work, whatever solutions we are seeking, if we ask the right kind of questions, that is when we will get the right kind of solutions too. It's also when we are setting the question papers. I still recollect this, which was, a statement made by the director. And he said, when you look at a question paper, you just know the kind of knowledge base a teacher has. And like it took me a moment to understand that, yes, what he said is so true, because we will only ask those questions of which we are confident of answering. So that's why, if you can just see how we connect increasing our knowledge to the questioning part of it. Again, whatever role we are playing as a teacher, as a mentor. In fact, today, the role of a teacher is multidimensional. In the classroom, you may be a teacher. Outside the classroom, you're like a mentor, you're a guide. So we keep playing multiple roles for that one single student or for those multiple students. Be aware of the role you play. Be responsible for the role that you are playing in the life of a student. Be resilient and keep reflecting. So reflecting, introspection has to happen from time to time. And the letter S, smile. I'm not saying you have to continuously smile, but somewhere, one smile can take us miles ahead. We don't have to have that stern, strict face every time. And in fact, when I sometimes take training sessions where, I've never interacted with a group, and if I'm doing a session on communication skills, so when I talk about non-verbal communication skills, so I say, okay, before I really began the session, what was the impression you had? And some of them have actually said strict, stern. But then I said, okay, as I started, conducting the session, how was it? Then they feel that, okay, it wasn't so. Some, wherever there is an eye connect, make it a point to smile. It doesn't cost much. Just smile. Be sensitive. Sensitive to the needs of your students. Sensitive to your own self. When I say to your own self, because we all believe in self-care. And as a mental health practitioner, I would really say everything begins with the self. The more we take care of ourselves, because when I deposit happiness within me, when I take care of myself, that is when I can do something for everybody else. And that's why self-management is very important. If I can manage myself, I can manage everyone else around me, be it my students, be it my colleagues, be it my family, be it my friends. How do we manage ourselves? T is all about trust. Believe me, it takes a lot to build up trust. And all of us know seconds to just dash it. Build up trust with your students. When I say build up trust with your students and why this matters, because sometimes we know certain things about some students. And if we go and share it with someone else who may be the judgmental kind or who may just, tell somebody else, and somewhere it comes back to the student, they feel betrayed, they feel left out. That's not what we want to do for them. So trust. It's also about transparency. Like I said, honesty, transparency. These things do matter. The tone in which we speak matters. U is all about being unique, unbiased, and understanding. When I say unique, there are so many educators, so many teachers. What is the uniqueness that I bring to the table? I need to understand that. what is the uniqueness that I bring? Because all of us have that uniqueness. Unbiased, like I said, we tend to have a very, unconscious bias which is there. It could be, again, like I said, could be with respect to gender, to caste, or whatever. We need to be unbiased at all times and understanding. Vibrancy, voice modulation, which again comes under your dynamism, or you talk about communication. If we do not learn to modulate our voice, it can get very monotonous. So try to practice voice modulation. It will only make your class more interesting. And W is all for well planned, worthwhile, where again, I know my director is to always say, if you're not prepared, if there's no planning, do not take a class. So, whatever the lesson plan, ensure that it is well planned. Make it worthwhile for your students. Like I said, we need to create memories for them, good memories, fond memories. X is all about the X factor. The X factor that you have, your own uniqueness, and all those students over there, through our observation, through our imparting knowledge, through our mentoring, through our guidance, try to understand what is the X factor every other student can have. Motivate them to showcase that X factor. And no matter how many years of experience we have behind us, continue to remain young at heart. Nurture that. It helps. It helps to nurture the child in us at all times. And last but not the least, never ever stop having the zest for teaching. Continue always to have that zest for teaching, because the more we have that zest for teaching, that much more lively, vibrant our classroom is going to be. So, with that, dear friends, we have actually covered A to Z of teaching, rekindling the passion within. I hope I was able to rekindle that passion within you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Really, it was marvelous and wonderful. And I could say here, whoever is has joined right now, it is an eye-opening for everyone. I do remember we used to have A for apple and B for ball, B for Bombay, something we used to say. And in the era of COVID-19, in the era of this technology, people had some kind of a showing A for and B for, like it was there in the form of the technology, it was coming there. So now, and this in this training session, definitely the teachers, the educators, those who are there, they might have taken away a lot of things from you, ma'am. And out of A to Z, I could feel I loved the third part, that is the third letter, C for communication, command on the language, collaboration, connect, and the compassion. The rest all are really wonderful. They were marvelous, I could see here. And I feel others also might have learned a lot. They have taken away so many things from you. And the way you explained everything, it got touched to each and everybody's heart, I could feel. And specifically, I am there in the education department from last 25, 26 years. It was really a great learning for me as well. So I request, if in the audience, if you have any kind of a question to be asked to ma'am, to know something more about today's A to Z, I you're most open to ask the question.
Ishtiaq sir, Assalamu alaikum.
Ji sir, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
can I have the opportunity not to
Yes,
ask,
yes, sir.
not to ask, but to say something very important,
Yes,
right?
yes, Dr.
Yeah. So good evening, Arpita ma'am. I was very keen to hear you, listen you, because you always add lot of strength whenever you speak, right? So it was an awesome way of telling A to Z. And in fact, when the time was getting over, so I was really impatient at how it immediately the Zoom got stopped, right? So immediately it came. So beautifully way you have explained it. And it is not only in the education sector, which the way you explained, it is there in all the sectors. We, the people in the leadership segment also, we also talk the same thing, because there is nothing difference in that. Teachers are the leaders. Teachers are the creators. Teachers are there who can emphasize and ensure that how their upcoming generations can be a good, you can say a leader, or you're a good humanitarian, right? So beautifully it has been explained. And Ishtiaq Saab, you said that you liked C. I said that I like from A to Z. Nothing was less than that, right? And on the top of it, you can see the madam's smile, because the smile can take you the 100 miles, right? So you can see this. So here the people are there from not 100 miles, maybe 1,000 miles or 10,000 miles from a different part of the world as well. I can see a couple of people they have joined. So this smile has added the beautification to the multiple miles. So I am very happy, and I was very keen to listen you, Arpita ma'am. My gratitude to you. And इश्तियाक साहब, आप तो जब बात करते हैं तो दिल को छू लेते हैं. अब आपको क्या बताएं. बस कभी बस मन तो यही करता है कि कब आके आपको अपने सीने से लगा लें, गले से लगा लें. शुक्रिया.
Welcome, sir. Welcome to Pune. So this is P for Pramod Kumar, and then that's why he is the one who's telling he liked it, and that's why he is a professional. P for professional. I can make out from this side.
Thank you so much, Pramodji. That was really, really very sweet of you. Those few words. Thank you.
Yes, it's really a smile which has definitely taken away a lot of things from here. And as Rajput sir has told, it is not only India. There are many people all around the world. They have joined this session, and they might have learned a lot. They might have taken up many things today from A to Z. Yes, anybody else would like to have a kind of a session or smile given here? Or else I'll take it away in this way. Thank you very much, Arpita ma'am, for giving your valuable time on the busy Sunday, and making each and everybody understand, and made us learn a lot, made us take away a lot from A to Z, which definitely a teacher has to be doing all these things. An educator has to be doing all these things in his professional life. So because professional lives, as an educator, as a leader, I myself, I have to be very close to my teachers. I have to win their hearts to make my organization more growing. I have to go close to the children. There should not be any kind of a fear in the mind. Arey nahi, 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 principal aa gaya hai, principal aa gaya. It should not be. So I personally feel there has to be some kind of a rapport between the students and the principal. Principal should not be a kind of a Hitler. Ki aa gaya chhadi leke haath mein. So just I want each and everybody quiet there in the class. On the other side, I do ask my children, the more you talk in the class, the more you discuss in the class, the more I will feel that some kind of a learning is happening. If there is a pin drop silence in the class, that means there is no learning happening there in the class. In fact, I have told these things to my teachers also. So teachers also realize that yes, बच्चे अगर बात करते हैं, children if they talk, definitely there is going to be some kind of a learning. Thank you very much, Arpita ma'am. So before we depart, I would like to have a kind of a token of love in the form of certificate to Arpita ma'am from IDYM. Thank you very much, ma'am. A huge round of applause to Arpita ma'am for today's.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It was my pleasure. I really enjoyed myself too. Thank you.
This is a small token of love from IDYM to Ms. Arpita ma'am. Thank you very much for your dates, for your time to be given to all the educators all around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
ये तो
thank you very much. Thank you
ये तो
very much.
ये तो
Yes,
सर
yes.
आपको जाता ही जाता है तो this is as a wonderful moderator, great moderator, sir. I'm taking this opportunity to speak about you because whenever I get the opportunity of some of the good people like you, I never try to miss it up.
Thank
So
you very much.
congratulations, sir. Congratulations. You deserve it, sir. You really deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ravi sir. You are doing really a wonderful job, not only in India, you are doing a wonderful job there in the abroad, bringing all the like-minded people together, bringing all the educators together on the same platform wherein we love, we learn, we educate, we train, we take away so many things in the education field. Definitely there is going to be some kind of a change in the education field going to happen. So I pray to my Lord, खुदा से दुआ करता हूं कि इंजीनियर रवि आपका जो ख्वाब है, whatever the dream you have seen in your life may come true for life. Thank you very much, everyone. I take a leave from here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.